Welcome to A Magic Spark. I hope that you enjoyed our book this month, which is the first in the Fairylight Friends series by Jessica Young. Part of the reason I chose it is because it's a friendship story, it has magic, just a little bit of mystery, so I thought it had a pretty exciting plot. But I also really liked the format of the book. So it has vibrant, colorful illustrations, and we have a longer story that's broken up into smaller sections. So if you're reading the book on your own or maybe reading it with somebody else, you can just read one chunk, set the book down, and then come back and read another section later. So I do encourage you to come and visit us here at Indian Trails Library if you're interested in checking out more of the Fairylight Friends series. We also have some of the other books in the Scholastic Branches imprint in our early reader section, and of course our staff is always happy to help you find a book that will match what you're looking for. Now, if you picked up your program kit here at Indian Trails Library, you should have most of the supplies that you'll need for our projects today. I would also advise having a pair of scissors, something to decorate with, so I've got colored pencils, but you might have crayons or markers, maybe even some paint. I have a regular pencil, some school glue. If you have school glue and a glue stick, it would be great to have both of those on hand. This is going to work a little bit better when we are using foam because it's a little bit stronger. But if you only have a glue stick today, that's okay. We can make it work. And then I've also got some tape just in case. So go ahead, grab your kit, grab your supplies, make sure that you have a nice, clean, even workstation. We'll get everything set up and we'll jump into our first project. One of the interesting things in the Fairylight Friends series is getting to see the world that the author Jessica Young imagined. So each of the fairies looks a little bit different. They have different powers and different talents, and they also live in different kinds of fairy houses. So our first project today is going to be to create your very own fairy house. So we've got a small cardboard box in the shape of a house. That's going to be what we're decorating today. You also have a tempera paint stick. This is something that you can use by just pulling off the cap and then drawing directly on your box. If you'd like to use it, this should be okay on your skin. Whatever you get on your hands, you should be able to wipe off. If you do use the tempera stick, I would suggest also wearing like a smock or an apron just to protect your clothes, to be on the safe side. And then we've got a lot of stickers for decorating. So you should have two sets. One of them's got the insects and flowers, and then the other one has insects, flowers, and animals. And then you should also have a smaller packet that has like some star stickers and some other things that you can use to decorate. So this is a pretty free-form project. You can approach it however you would like. I am going to advise that if you are going to color your box, so that could be using your tempera stick, using colored pencils, crayons, or markers, do that first. And then when you use your stickers, you want to put that directly onto the cardboard material of the box. So if you color a whole wall on the outside, it might be a little bit harder to get a sticker to stick on it. So just something to keep in mind. And the cool thing is that you can decorate the inside and outside however you think your fairy might like it. So I'm going to start with the roof. I've got my yellow tempera stick here. So I'm just going to start coloring. I'm going to make a nice bright roof. So if my fairy is flying around, they'll always be able to see which house is theirs. They won't have any problem making it home, right? Make sure that I've got a nice, even coat of yellow. And then I think I'll take that down on the sides too. All right, so I have a nice bright yellow roof, and then I think my next step is going to be to add some stickers to the outside and the inside of my house. You can see I am getting some of my tempera paint on my fingers, but that's okay, right? As long as I don't get it on my clothes. All right, so I'm going to set that over here so that's got a chance to dry a little bit. Even though this is a paint stick, it is still a little wet. Okay, so now I have the outside part of my box. So I'm going to take some of my stickers here. I think I'm going to use some of the flowers from this one because they're a little bit brighter color. So I'll start out with the flower. And you can wrap this around your box any way you want. You can also use your scissors to cut your stickers if it doesn't quite fit the space that you're looking to cover. So if I turn this, I think that looks really nice. All right, so I've got a flower sticker on one side. Maybe I'll add a different color flower on the other side. And then for the inside, you can get as creative as you would like. You can keep adding stickers. You could draw on the inside with your crayons, your markers, or your colored pencils. Or you could even use other supplies that you have in your kit, or maybe other supplies that you have at home to decorate the inside of the house for your fairy. So think about what kinds of things do you think your fairy would need in their house, like maybe a bed, or some clothes, or some toys, some food, and you can add those things inside. So I think I'm going to give my fairy a frog as a pet. So I'm going to put my frog sticker inside there. And then I'm going to use one of my colored pencils. I'm going to draw a bed. So I'm just going to make that a rectangle. Color that in. All right, and then I think my fairy also needs something really delicious for breakfast. So I'm going to use, maybe I'll use my blue here. And then I'm going to draw another rectangle in here to be my fairy's kitchen. And then on their table, I will use my red colored pencil and I'm going to draw them red, ripe, juicy strawberry. All right, so I'll show you what I have inside. So you can see there's my frog and my fairy's bed to sleep on. And then there's their kitchen, and that's their kitchen table with a really yummy strawberry. And the nice thing about this project is that you can keep adding to it. If you have a box, like maybe a shoe box or a shipping box, you can use the papers that came along with your sticker, and you can actually create like a whole yard for your fairy. So you could put this in the box, you could add your house to it, you could use the rest of your stickers to do some decorating, and you can give your fairy a whole place that they can hang out. Think about what their special power or talent might be. So if you think, oh, well, my fairy is really good at riding their bike. Draw that in, add that into your project, and you can keep going, keep finding more creative ideas until you feel like your house is complete. So I'm going to add the roof back onto my house. I think that looks pretty good for right now. So I'm going to clean these supplies up, get my workspace ready, and then we'll jump into our second project. Ruby was the first fairy in our story to find out what her special power was. It meant that she was really great at making spectacular, delicious things to eat. So our second project today is going to be making a very special fairy cake. Not to eat, but just to admire. So for this project, you're going to need a sponge, and then you should have a bag with some other decorating supplies. So it's going to have foam with a sticker back, a piece of yellow paper, and a drinking straw, and then some stickers that you can use for decorating. So the thing to keep in mind is that we are going to be putting the foam on top of the sponge. So the sponge is going to pretend like it's the bottom part of our cake. And then we're going to pretend like the foam is the frosting, so we can add some decorations to it. And then if you'd like, you can add a candle to make it even more special. Both the sponge material and the foam are good to stick things on. And that's why we've got stickers, and then we also have our school glue that we can use as well. But they're not really good for decorating with our crayons, our colored pencils, or our markers, unless you have permanent markers. And that's something that you would need to talk to your grown-up about and see if they would be okay with you using. But I would not advise using colored pencils or crayons or just regular everyday markers on the foam, because it either won't show up very well or it's going to start to wipe off, and every time you handle it, it'll get all on your hands. It'll be gross. So we are also going to need our scissors for this project. The first thing that we'll do is take a look at our sponge and our craft foam and see how those match up size-wise. So you can see that my piece of foam is quite a bit bigger than my sponge. So I'm going to kind of tuck my sponge into a corner of the foam. So you can see I've got a little bit sticking out on the sides so that I've got some space to wrap it over. And then I'm going to cut the rest of my foam down just a little bit so that it fits my sponge a little bit better. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to trace, let's see, so I've got my sponge here. So I'm going to take my little pinky finger next to it, and I'm going to use that as my guide. There we go. To where I want to cut. Because again, we want to leave a little bit of space. We don't want to cut it right to the edge of the sponge because then it won't wrap over nicely. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Match up my pinky finger, and then that's going to give me a guide. All right, so that should give me about, say maybe about a 1/2 inch all around my sponge. So you can see I've got my guidelines here. That'll show me where to cut, and I'm just going to cut in a straight line. Put my extra pieces off to the side. All right, so now I have my craft foam. This next step, probably do on your own, but if you've got a grown-up or an older sibling to help out a little bit, it might not be such a bad thing. We're going to cut in from the corners to make it easier to put the foam on top and then wrap it around the sponge. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to draw a line from the point of the corner in. So I'm just going to draw a straight line here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so you're thinking, Miss Katie, why did we draw these lines on the corner? These are going to be our guides to show us how we need to cut the foam so that we can wrap it around more easily. So you can see I've got 4 lines. Each one's coming in on a diagonal from my corners. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut those lines. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now when I match my sponge up, I can actually bend each side of the foam over the edge of the sponge a little bit more easily because I have those cuts here in each corner. So our next step is going to be to peel the backing off of our craft foam. So this is going to be kind of like peeling a sticker. So you'll see that the part underneath is very sticky. If you're lucky, your piece will peel off all in one. If you're like me, you might have to go back and get it in a couple different sections. Ah, there we go. All right, put that off to the side. So now I'm going to take the sticky part of my craft foam and I'm going to match it up to my sponge, and you can see I have the green part up. When the craft foam is covering the sponge, you'll only be able to see the yellow part, and I think for this, that looks much more like cake. So I don't want the green part to be visible, so that's why I'm going to cover that one up with my craft foam. If you feel differently and you want to flip it over like this so people can see the green part, you're more than welcome to. Or you can follow along with me. All right, so I'm going to match up. So push this down. All right, make sure I've got this on nicely. All right, now I'm going to start folding in my edges. So all I'm going to do is just press down on the sticky. So the sticky part meets the side of the sponge. So I'm going to do my two big sides first. Wrap down, press, 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 press. Okay, so you can see that I have my foam pressed down on the side, and now I've got these two little wings sticking up here. So what I'm going to do on the short ends is I'm going to press this down, and then I'm going to press this part over. Press it down and press it over. So that kind of wraps back towards the long side. So press it down, press it over, press it down, and press it over. All right, so now my sponge is covered by foam. Depending on which way you're looking at it, you can still see that yellow piece. So that's my cake, this is my frosting, and now it's time to decorate. So like I said, you've got some stickers that you can use to decorate. When I made my first example, I used some sequins that we have here at the library, and I glued those with my white school glue. If you have other decorating supplies at home, maybe some ribbon, some yarn, something else that's kind of shiny and sparkly, maybe something else that's rainbow colored, like what Ruby used to decorate her cake in our story, you can go ahead and add it. Again, just be mindful of using glue that's going to hold it down, or you can always use tape instead if you think that's going to be more effective. So once you've finished decorating your frosting piece, the last option is to add a candle. So the way that we're going to do that is you're going to take your drinking straw, and you can either keep it the same size that it is, or you can cut it down. Mine is, what would that be, about 3 inches tall, like that. So if you want to, you can take yours, you can use your scissors to make it that size. Then our next step is going to be to take 2 pieces of yellow paper, and this is going to make the candle flame. So we're going to make kind of a sandwich with our straw. So I'm going to put 1 piece of yellow paper down. I'm going to put the straw on top of it. I'm going to use my tape. If I can find the end, there we go. All right. So I'm going to make 2 pieces of tape, and I'm going to use that to hold my straw in place on my yellow paper, okay? So you can see that tape is holding the straw so that it's not gonna move, right? So now we're gonna take the other yellow piece of paper, and we are going to make a sandwich so that it's on top of the straw, so you can just see the paper on the outside and then the straw coming down in the bottom. How are we going to do that? We're going to take some tape. I'm going to break this into a couple smaller pieces here. And then I'm going to make sure that my papers are matched up. I'm going to use tape going up and down to hold that in place. The other choice would be you can use it on the sides. So you can match it up to one of the edges of your yellow piece of paper and then fold the tape over and then maybe cut a little bit here so that it matches to the other side. There. Tricky tape today. Okay, so I'm going to match that up to my edge here. And then I'm going to smooth that over to the other side. So it's holding my two pieces of yellow paper together. Give it a little snip at the bottom. All right, so now we have our candle with a flame. How are we going to attach that to our cake, you ask, right? That's not really doing anything, is it? Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to make a small hole either in the center, or if you'd rather put your candle off to the side, you can do that too. We've got to make a small hole in your piece of cake. Now, if you have really strong fingers and hands, you might be able to just press, and get that to go in. You can see my straw is starting to bend. I made a little impression in my craft foam. It didn't work very well. So I would suggest having a grown-up or an older sibling help you with this. And I think that there's probably two different approaches that you could take. First one would be if you do have like a pen or a pencil, you can take the point and you can just press it into the craft foam. You can press it into the straw, kind of twist, 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 and then that should make a hole that you can use for your candle and flame. Or if you use your scissors very carefully, you can press one point of the scissors in. With this, you do have to be careful because you don't want it to go all the way through. So I don't want to just be like, and poke it all the way through the bottom of my sponge. I just want to press in enough that it's going to make a hole that my straw will fit into. So now I can add a little bit bigger here. All right, so now, oh, that's perfect. I can add my straw. So I have my piece of cake with a candle. If you take a look inside your kit, you do have some more pieces of foam and sponge. So you can make another pretend fairy cake, or you can take your supplies, get creative, and decorate your delicious dessert some other way. Just don't eat it. All right, now that we've made a pretend tasty treat, let's go ahead and get our workspace cleared up, move our supplies off to the side, and we'll get ready for our third project today. Towards the end of our story, Pip discovered that his magic power was making things grow. So when I was trying to decide what kind of a project would match up with that theme, I was thinking that we could plant some seeds, we'd have to use soil, and that would be kind of messy, but we could make it work. And then I started to think a little bit more, and I realized the library's giving garden is getting ready to be planted. So this is a special place here at the library where Miss Lori, along with our master gardeners and our awesome kid volunteers, tend the garden, weed the garden, and make things grow. And hopefully by the end of the summer, we have a great harvest that we can share with the rest of our community. So if, like Pip, you're interested in nature, you want to see how plants grow, find out a little bit more about gardening, or just spend some time outside this summer, I would highly recommend taking a look at our May, June, and July calendars and seeing when that Giving Garden program is going to be coming up. So then I started thinking about, well, maybe we could do something flower themed. And I found a really great kit that we are going to be able to put together a very simple flower craft. I don't think we're going to need anything extra. It should all be included inside. So if you pull out the plastic packet from your supply kit, go ahead and open it up. All right. So inside, we should have a green craft stick. We've got 2 flower-shaped foam pieces. We have a green center, a leaf, a little smiley face, and then optional, if you want, we also have a piece of string that you can use to make this into more of an ornament that you could actually hang up somewhere in your house. And then, of course, we have our handy sheet of instructions just in case you need it. All right, so we are going to start out with our craft stick. This is going to be the base of what we make. So that's going to be here at the bottom. And then you kind of have a little bit of artistic license here to decide which color flower you want to go on top. So you can see that there's a little sticky back here. So once you peel that off, then you'll be able to stick one of the flower pieces onto your craft stick, and then the other one will match up on top. And we'll do it so that the flower petals just don't quite line up. So you can see the purple pieces sticking out beside the blue. If I move it a little bit, they match up directly. You can't see the purple at all, right? But if I turn it just a little bit, that purple would show behind the blue. Or I could choose to put the purple in front and have the blue show in the back. Or you can just use one flower, up to you. So I'm going to choose to put the purple part on first. So that's going to be in the back, and then I'm going to match up my blue on top of it. Blue's my favorite color. So I'm going to peel off my sticky back here. All right, and then I'm going to try to line that up with my craft stick. And then I'm going to, since I have my tape already, I'm just going to grab it, try to get a piece here. Actually, go to 2 pieces, a little bit bigger. All right, so I'm going to add that onto the back just to hold it a little bit more securely, just in case, right? Okay. So I have my purple piece attached to my craft stick. Now I'm going to add my blue piece on top. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off that sticky back. And then I'm going to match up my 2 foam pieces. Press it down so you can just see both colors there, right? All right, so now we can add a smiley face. So that's going to go here in the center. Just press that down. And then if you'd like, you can also add your foam leaf. So again, this has just a little bit of a sticky back here, so we can peel that away and then match that up with our craft stick. So make sure that that sticks on. You can put it anywhere on your craft stick that you like. You can move it up, you can move it to the other side, have it pointing the other direction, whatever works for you. And I think, just to be on the safe side, I'll add a little bit of tape to that as well. Okay. So if you feel like your project is complete at this point and you're happy with it, that is fantastic. If you'd like to keep decorating, if you've got some leftover stickers from one of our other projects, you can go ahead and add that. You can glue on any other art supplies that you have at home, maybe some other stickers, again, yarn, ribbon, washi tape, any of that can be added if you'd like. And then if you are ready and interested in turning this into an ornament, you can flip it over. So we've got the back of our project facing up. And then we're going to use the green circle and the green string to make this into an ornament. So I'm going to hold my string in a U shape. So there's a round part at the bottom, and then my two ends are sticking up. And then I'm going to match up those ends on my craft stick here. So it's going to look like that. So there's a loop that comes out over the top of the flower, and then the two ends are going to match up on the back of my craft stick here. I'm going to peel off my sticky back here, and then use the green circle to hold my string down. So I'm going to hold my string with one finger, and then I'm going to stick, 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 press, press, press my green circle down. So then that's going to hold the string in place. So then if you want to put this up on a wall, you want to hang this from your doorknob, somewhere that you can see it and think, summer's coming, I'm so excited. That's great. So now that we've finished up our third project, you go ahead and clean up your garbage, make sure that your work surface is cleared off, and we'll meet back here to wrap things up. So if you take a look inside your supply kit, you'll notice you have one more thing in there. That's our star plush. I was trying to think of a project that would kind of represent Iris's powers. She can fly, she kind of glows, and there wasn't really a craft or an activity that came to mind. So I was excited when I found the star plush because I thought that kind of goes along with what Iris is able to do. So it's super cute. If you hit it just right, it does light up. I thought, well, it's kind of like reaching for the stars. That's sort of what Iris does, right? So I hope you have fun playing with it, and I hope that when you see it, it makes you think of Iris and her awesome friends, and how much you enjoyed the Fairylight Friends book series. So this is kind of a bittersweet moment because we have been together for the last year and a half doing our K1 book parties virtually. So I do want to say thank you to everyone who stuck with us. We weren't quite sure if this was going to work as a virtual program, but I'm so excited by the great turnout that we've had for the program and the awesome feedback that I've gotten. You know, I put the projects together, I put the video together, and I hope that it works out for you. So to everybody who shared feedback, whether that's been in an email or photos of the projects you've made, I really, really appreciate it. It's been so great to see how much you've done with the different projects, how creative you've been with them. So thank you very much. And the good news is that moving forward, we're hoping that we'll be able to shift back to in-person. So Miss Becca and I are planning Care for Magical Creatures at the end of June. That's going to be a K1 book party, so we'll be able to meet here in the library. We'll share a story and some activities together and hopefully have a lot of fun since we'll be able to be together. And then starting in the fall, we'll begin a new school year, and that's when our book clubs will come back in person. So we'll have the Chapter 1 book club, which will be for kindergarten and first grade, and then Paperback Pals, which is for second and third grade. And in both cases, you'll register ahead of time, and you'll get a copy of the book that you'll be able to take home, and you'll be able to read and keep. And then when we meet together in person in the library, we'll discuss the book, we'll try some different activities and projects together, and hopefully be able to share a snack as well. So if you have any questions about the book clubs coming up, please let us know. There will be some information in our summer newsletter because registration will take place in August, and then our book club will take place in September. So I'm getting really excited, Miss Becca's getting really excited, and we're hoping that you'll all be able to join us. Or if you're moving up into second grade, you'll be able to join Jeff and Jennifer for Paperback Pals. And then the last plug I want to give is for Summer Library Adventure. That's going to be coming up starting on June 1st. So this year, you'll be able to track your reading and your activities, and then when you complete, you'll be able to come back and get 2 prizes here at the library. So our theme this year is Every Trail Has a Story. So you're going to see some really great programs coming up with a nature science theme to them. So again, I hope that you'll be able to join us because it's going to be a really fun summer. So thank you again, everyone. I hope that you really enjoyed what we did today, and I hope that we get to see you at the library sometime again soon. So take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.